order and call this meeting to order one more time. And Dan, would you want to lead us in pledge? Mine? Pledge, you want to?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, the discussion today is with the PS days, we have a little bit of ARPA money that we have to distribute. And we're trying to distribute it, see what needs to be done, distribute it over the county in multiple ways. So I don't know. Oh, thank you, John. Anybody want to speak, can you please sign in? If you haven't.
We can just pass that around so people don't have to get up. We'll pass around the sign-in sheet. We're required to keep track of who is at our meetings to make sure we know. And I'd just like to say, the reason we have this money, we have about 4.5 million in American Rescue Plan Act money left because we had allocated 3.5 million of it for broadband expansion, a match of a grant. The state was unable to come through with this portion. So we now have that money free. And what we're trying to do, we don't have all of it to put toward one project in one location or even several PSDs. Like we have municipalities coming in with requests. We have other types of requests. We have trails and other economic investments. So what we're trying to do is get an idea of what everybody has that we might be able to fund part of or grant match or something like that. And then we can create a list and make a decision at a later date with all things considered, once we get all of the requests in. So that's the point of this workshop. And we know PSDs are of great interest and have needs all the time. And so we decide to have individual workshops just to, put the right enough focus on all of these things and get it going. So
Now, I will mention one more thing. The ARPA money has to be allocated by 2024, but it has to be spent no later than 2026 or we lose it. So any projects that we talk about today really needs to have allocation and distributed or used by 2026. Anything outside that scope really will lose the money before it's spent. So I just want everybody to know about that.
Is there a deadline that we have to have this information to you? Is it today or?
Well,
Send more.
we're talking about it today. We don't have to allocate it until December 31st, 2024. But it has to be allocated. But the sooner we get all the information.
Are you putting a deadline of when we get the information to you?
Is the commission, we haven't discussed that.
we haven't really discussed it, but I mean, I had in my mind, I'd like us to make some decisions by June or July at the latest. I mean, Ruth, what makes sense to you? Because she's managing money.
I'm good with that.
So,
Whatever you want to do.
the sooner the better, but we only have one meeting in June, so I would say our first meeting in July. I'd like us to be able to start making some decisions by then, so we're not too cramped, and getting that done, getting the money to folks. So end of June, I guess, is the easiest way to.
That'd be
say
fine
it.
with me. I don't have a problem with that.
Is that cool with you, Dawn?
That would be good because that's the start of the new fiscal year.
Yeah, and then it'll give us time just to look at everything and make sure nothing new has come up and that sort of stuff.
What does anybody, do we want to let anybody?
Yeah,
talk?
sure. So I see lots of PSD representatives here. So is somebody presenting on behalf of each PSD or? You guys, okay, so Canal Falls, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Come on up. If you come up to the microphone, just so the people on Zoom can hear, that'll be awesome.
So thank you for your time and calling me out of the crowd to be here first. So I appreciate that. I know your time is very valuable and I know that you guys are looking at a lot of different things today. So my name is Jonathan Gross and I am chairman for Canal Falls PSD. And we have 3 issues that we would like you to consider funding for. And I already have quotes with them, so I'll give you those opportunities to look at those.
was gonna say, I meant you missed, you,
Sorry. And did you get this weekend? And there's four name.
thank you.
And I can give you my copy for the minutes, whoever needs those after we get that.
Okay.
So the three issues that we would like for you to consider for Canal Falls PSD is, the first one is through Core and Main. This is our, we have approximately 25 hydrants inside the system that we are needing to repair, that are either in needing parts or are just not being, the parts can no longer be ordered. Throughout the system, we have some older, areas that need those replacements. And so that's 25 fire hydrants that can be put back into working order. And then that gives you the estimated price there on those units.
Jonathan, on connecting these up, are these gonna be a 4-inch, 6-inch? Where
Those are
they
4-inch.
going to?
Those are 4-inch.
4-inch.
Yes, sir. And then the other one that we have before you is through Pump Main, which is going to be this one here. That is our turbidity meter. So there's 3 of those. That's for the tanks that will allow us to have the flow, be able to read those. As you know, with technology, it's a constant battle to stay up to date on the, just the upkeep of those. So we replaced these about 6 years ago, and they are now, delinquent in just the system. So those would be a suggestion for an update, which those 3 units, and you see the price there on that page. And then the last one that we would request is going to be a pickup truck that we are working on replacing. This was a quote that we got from Stevens Auto Group, and it's a 2024 F550.
Would you be trading in the old one?
We would not.
And the order that you sent these in, would this be the priority?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, I would like to see
Good
that.
question, John.
That would be the order that. I mean, listen, I would like to say I would like it all, and can I give you 10 more? But I mean, if we have to look at a process,
Well, listen, I
we think that the
appreciate
fire hydrants are going to be very important, and then the turbidity is the next order, and then the truck.
I appreciate that you came in with, reasonable work, that are within our ability to do. And prioritize them for us and gave us quick and dirty on what they are and the significance. That really helps. When we make a decision.
Okay.
On it. Like none of these made me hyperventilate.
So, if you guys need any additional information, please let me know. We'll get that to you. If not, I'm assuming that this would be sufficient for your deadline for.
This is sufficient for our deadline because you have bids here. So
Mhm.
this, you don't need to provide anything for.
Okay.
We'll just put them, when we make a decision, we'll put them on the decision agenda.
Yeah, I think it's perfect.
And then who needs these for their minutes? Does anyone need these for?
We can use my copy.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. You wanna go next, White Oak? No, when you pull out a big stack like that's, she's cringing right now.
Oh, no, it's not. It's just quote stapled to the back row of everything. Nothing, nothing that's huge. Thank you for your time. I'm Matthew Peters with Thompson and Litton, I'm working with White Oak Public Service District. Steve Stokes is here from the PSD. We prepared this letter that just summarizes 4 items that the PSD is interested in the commission's consideration for ARPA funding. They're primarily equipment that has reached the end of its useful life and needs to be replaced. The first item on the list is a mini excavator. We've obtained 3 quotes that are summarized there in the table. And then a trailer for hauling of the excavator. There's 3 quotes there. One of them is a little bit out of date. I'm waiting to receive an updated quote on that item. PSD currently has a backhoe and a small loader that they use in the 90s and early 2000s, so they're quite old. And they don't have any tracked equipment, so they have to rely on bidding out work, repair items, repair parts of their collection system in pretty low lying and wet areas, so. That's the first item, or the first two items rather. The third item would be a dump truck for solid handling. That truck that they have now is a 92 F700 that's very old. They utilize that truck to haul dewatered solids to the land plow or to the landfill. So it's instrumental in the treatment process for their solids. And when we only have one quote now, we're seeking two others. That quote's summarized there and it's attached also. And then the final item would be a potential PER reimbursement. The PSD self-funded the preliminary engineering report costs for the wastewater treatment plant bypass removal project. They are slated to potentially have that money returned to them should there be enough money in the project contingency. However, that's contingent upon that. So that one's a little bit more, maybe not always the option request, I understand, but that's just another item.
Well, I'm not sure that one will qualify under
Understood.
the ARPA because of the reimbursement or
Understood.
repay bills and loans.
And the quotes associated with this, these asks are attached. And like I said, I should have a quote on the other trailer that's out of date, and we'll work to obtain other quotes on the dump truck should that be.
Are these in the requested priority?
I believe so. Would you think so, Steve, in the order in which you prefer the acquisition, the mini excavator, the trailer, the dump truck?
I would, yeah, definitely done that first.
Okay.
About that.
The dump truck would be first. Is that what you
Yes.
said? That's awesome. Exactly what we needed.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
And you guys don't need to give us anything further unless something else comes up. So-
Mr. Hay?
Yes. I was wondering if I'd been visually summoned.
Probably let John take
We
over.
did,
from here.
for your information,
But if you
Mr.
take
we
over
did
after
approve
he
those,
presents, you know,
support
both of them
letters
do
for
it better
the
than I do.
congressionally directed spending in our
Great.
meeting this morning.
Wonderful. I might say that, the timeline was a little bit close, but we have, projects that are already in a holding pattern, over in our neck of the woods, and, I got news from attorney this morning. I just shared this, that, the ODM agreement for contract 19, is in our hands now, ready for submission to the PSC. And a promise that contract 18 is forthcoming, which will enable us to gain approval from the PSC so we can advertise both of those contracts. But, and of course, both of those have a substantial surcharge connected with them that we've been trying to alleviate. But honestly, every day that that contract drags on, costs connected with it continually increase. But to get to the point, we've got three contract areas that we've already committed to in the same generalized area, which being our references is Richmond Chapel Road, Old Gwynn Road, and Lucas Road. Those are all out in the far reaches of Saturday Road area. And in an attempt to keep the contracts in a fundable position, we spread them in three different contracts. Of course, enough money would be available that it could all be done, or they could run concurrently, like we are with 18 and 19. The timelines just happen to work out that way. But anyway, we've got three projects that are already in a holding pattern. One being Old Gwynn Road. We already have $1 million of legislative money's committed, for that project, and as well as $200,000 from the governor's office. So Old Gwynn Road is already partially funded, and looking at the what the balance might be, but the total cost of the Old Gwynn Road is $3,457,000. And so $1,200,000 is already committed to that project. So naturally, it would be first in line with the three that we're seeking funding for. But it may be a more legitimate request would be to request monies for the engineering design of these three projects. The preliminary engineering report has already been done for all three, and it has been accepted. And those three that the county commission has funded to get those done. But we have the engineering for Richmond Chapel Road is $538,000. The Lucas Road extension would be $394,000, and it looks like the engineering for Old Gwynn Road would be about $623,000. So we do have projects that are in the works already, some of which are already partially funded, and any amount of the monies that we can get to move these forward would be a wonderful thing, or enough monies to fund the completion of one project, such as Old Gwynn Road. That project to be knocked out. But I am very sensitive to the fact that there's numerous PSDs and municipalities that have similar needs, and but we're trying to get these people water for the very first time. So appreciate any help we could get.
You got,
If you would like to have this folder that I'm packing,
is there 3 copies in there?
why
We can make
no?
the other copies. What are-
I was messing with you.
You know what, but you know what, I've learned my way around this here courthouse. And there's folks that'll help if I beg. And you need copies, I'll go across the hall.
What were those numbers again for Richmond Chapel? It was 500 and
It's 531.
538 for Richmond
538.
Chapel. Lucas Road was $394. This is for the complete engineering design. And then you got $623 for Old Gwynn Road.
is that for an engineering design or to complete the project?
That's an engineering design. The complete project cost for each of those is more. The complete construction is $3,600,000 for Lucas Road. $5,300,000 for Richmond Chapel Road. $3,400,000 for Old Gwynn Road, which already has $1,200,000 of funding for its completion.
I do have one question. If you, I'm not sure whether you mentioned it, but the connection fee that went along with that, did you give the figure on that?
A connection fee?
Or the extra surcharge that was for the
These currently don't carry a surcharge.
the other ones, though, you mentioned it, we talked about it before.
I don't know what the total number is now. We have a Schedule B already prepared for both of them. I can send you
I
a.
mean, just curious, yeah, can you send that to?
It's probably roughly, was it about $10-15 per contract? Is that about where that?
$9.
Well,
$9.
it was $9, a little less than $10 for each contract.
Okay. I thought it was, okay, I thought it was more than that.
We have gotten some more funding.
Okay.
Let's pull that down a
That's
little bit.
okay. That's the only reason I asked, because I thought it was more than that.
And we are anticipating, getting some more money, from the EEG funding out of DEP. We're hopeful, had a meeting with them, Charleston last week. And, I got a very positive, feel from the meeting that, I think they got money, but same token, they got everybody to spread that money out with and statewide, DEP. And, there's something else I was about to mention. Mine's a terrible thing to waste.
Thank you. Well, Ruth here, it'd be better in hands with Ruth.
I'll stick it in. the
Yeah,
stack
thank
later.
you.
No, get it.
Was there something else I was supposed to say, guys? Thank you, Phil.
Don, I'll let you go ahead and start.
Golly River,
My name is Ralph Arthur and I'm the chairman of Golly River PSD. We've got 2 or 3 different things. We don't have copies enough to get them all out there. But we do have our primary. And this is for generators, for booster stations. We have 10 booster stations in our system. And of course, they're all everything is electric. And this is a project that we needed to do something on for a while. We've already got all the figures together. We started seeking funding for it. And that it's $305,000 for all of them. And that's with installation and the wiring and everything to put them in. Those are Generac generators that will back up the power for all of these pump stations.
Do all of these stations service Fayette County location?
All of them but one.
I see some.
There's one that's in Enid, and that one that does serve some of Fayette County because we bring water all the way down to Belva from there. And all the others, as far as I know, are in Fayette County, and unless one of them crosses over into Clay, which I don't know the pump station is, the tank may be, but the pump station may not be. Because the pump station is not necessarily at the tank. It's wherever the engineers decided that we needed to boost to get the water, up the hill. And that would be our primary goal, is to get that done. And we'd like to get that done, as soon as we can. I mean, we're in a position where that project could be finished by the end of next year, no problem. We have some other needs, which I do not have figures for everybody, but we have, we're looking at replacing our software that we do our bills with. We're looking at replacing our telemetry system and our meter reading equipment. And you'd be talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of $90,000 to $100,000 for those. And I will get you in writing the estimates on that, so we have exact, and we'll have them for you next week.
Would you also please try to get some more precise numbers on these generators?
Yes, those estimates were going from Generac quotes I can provide.
Okay,
Like if you see the 25,000, that quote might have been $24,830 or something, so that is right at it.
We brought the engineer just in case.
okay. That always helps. So you're gonna, the billing software, telemetry, and the meter reading equipment combined would be around 90-some thousand?
Between 90 to 100, I think,
Okay.
yes. And we'll have those exact figures for you next week.
And the priorities, please.
Yes. Yeah, the priority number one would be the generators.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had a power outage much for a while, but it's coming. It's gonna happen again someday. And then power will be out for a week, and if we can't pump, then everybody runs out of water.
I'm just curious, what's the warranty on these generators?
the quotes, I'll provide the quotes, I'm sure the warranty's on there, and if they're not, I'll ask.
Okay, I'm just
What's the way
curious.
to get that?
Anything else?
Just, I'm gonna ask, just to make sure that you, if you haven't already, that you're budgeting for the maintenance costs for these, that'd be my concern, like buying and make sure that they're being maintained.
Okay.
That's an issue with infrastructure redundancy.
All right.
If I like to think,
Yes, sir.
we just had an outage on, our pump station that pumps from Mount Olive. A couple weeks ago, storm come through and we just missed the perfect storm because again, we purchased water from Canal Falls, and Canal Falls wasn't able to give us water. If we didn't have, if we hadn't gotten power back on, we would have been hurt. We would have been able to pump. All is our number one customer and our number one priority.
Yeah, that's what gets you in trouble with the governor, since the state center.
What pump station is that? Dixie?
It's Mill Creek,
Yeah, I think it's listed on there as Smith Branch.
Smith Branch.
That's why it's the higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's halfway up the mountain and back in the woods, and that when we do lose power from time to time. We've trimmed trees back as far as all of the property that we own. But still, the power lines go where they go. I mean, they're what. You have to get into keeping everything open and keeping it running, so,
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
thank you.
All right, Armstrong Creek couldn't be here. Lawrence had a doctor's visit that got moved up. Paige Kincaid, I do not see. Fayette's already here.
Denise might be on the phone.
Denise, are you on Zoom?
Go ahead and unmute. Two people who called in, we just want to see if you're from the PSDs, if you called in.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Hey, this is Kenneth Kinder with E.L. Robinson. We serve as the engineer for Danny's PSD.
Okay.
I spoke to Melanie Cadle with the PSD this morning, and she indicated that her daughter had some doctor's appointments today that she had to attend to. I think that they do have one or two items that they would like to submit for consideration, so I can get back with Melanie and see if she can get something submitted next week.
Okay,
Okay, it sounds like we might need to set those 3 PSDs for, maybe we can add those on in the afternoon and.
Yeah, I think so. Lawrence wanted me to check with you guys to see if it would be okay if they did that maybe next week.
yeah, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, since we're gonna be here anyway,
You
so.
want to do it at like, how long is it taking us so far?
What's on the agenda too, for Wednesday?
Well, Wednesday, we have one at 10, and we have another one at 1. We could make it like at 2. We can get the PS, well, I'd say
I don't
3
think-
o'clock.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think everything's what be
Maybe,
presented next week will be done in an hour.
maybe we can set it for 3 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, I think it-
That would be good.
I think it's a good list to be.
Okay, Mr. Kinder, I think, if you want to pass on to Melanie, we're gonna set the remaining PSDs for 3 o'clock next Wednesday, March 20th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Anybody from municipalities, municipal PSDs here, they might be. To the municipal meeting. Oh, they're going to just do it at municipal meeting?
That's what our intention was for Oak Hill. Our number 2 priority is a force main project for Wolf Creek.
Well, we also saw your, I think we should also hear your, earmark the ones that you put in for earmark, you had a couple of PSD related. Like your mini excavator that was on there.
An excavator and the telemetry product, the telemetry system for CDS requests.
Which would benefit Wolf Creek Park. And Oak Hill. Oak Hill hasn't received a lot of money from us yet either, so. I'd say raise them all at that meeting then, just bring those to our attention in the case. That what Commissioner Weiss has heard, that the senators are gonna consider last year's projects this year and save those for a future year, that might be a time to ask for those.
I can tell you we're in good contact with Congresswoman Miller's office and with Senator Capito's office, and we have not heard that from them, but we haven't been as regularly in touch with Senator Manchin's office. Our priorities for projects will be help with our comprehensive plan and master plans. We have a functional document. And then the force manual is going to be our second priority on that list.
Okay. All right, so. That ought to do it.
I think it's it.
If anybody in New Haven in particular, Mr. Haynes, since you guys had such $5 amounts, if you have smaller things like these other PSDs have presented.
We don't need any trucks or backhoes
Okay.
or anything. But I
Well,
want
that's
to
good
mention
news.
something that's transpired. We've gotten affiliated with a nonprofit organization called Dig Deep. Their
Yeah.
operation is to provide free of charge lateral hookups for customers that are getting water. They're going to be running the lines from the house to the meter free of charge for each of these contract 18 and 19 that's coming up, and probably the future projects that I mentioned today. And they are even able to, if there's a customer that doesn't have a bathroom in their home, they can come in and do that as well.
Wow.
And so they're committed to, they're attending our meetings and looking forward to helping some of the people. They're funded by corporate funding, private individuals. They said that Steve Harvey has given them much money to improve the quality of life of people down in McDowell County, as well as Jennifer Gardner has donated money to help in the areas in West Virginia that can make a difference. And so it's really been beneficial. It's going to help folks in our area tremendously. So they don't care how far they have to run the water line. They just do what it takes, and
Would you
just want
mind-
to share that may be beneficial for other PSD.
Would you mind asking them to contact us about presenting to us about it so we can get the word out?
Sure.
That
We're
would be.
planning on having, I'm trying to establish a meeting place in Hampstead, the Middle Trail Community Center. And they were to present to the public what they can expect as far as we get closer, being contacted by them, what they're going to do and all that. So I'm trying to get with Nick Mooney now as we talk to get that building rented or borrowed, I might say, on Monday night, the 25th. That's our intention. So.
Thank you for the card too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm taking a picture.
that's what I'm going to.
I will.
That's done.
You still need me to get in touch with them or?
No, I think we'll just reach out to them and ask them
All right, great.
to come in, and I see some hands up in the
Yeah,
back.
I just wanted to add one thing. My name is Dr. Shane Eaton. I'm a resident here for 7 years now. My wife and I, Becky, we moved here to their son Cody about 7 years ago after retiring from the Air Force to make this our forever home, first we've had in a long time. And my in-laws, Rita and John Walker, live on Old Wind Road. And I've got to know these folks very well over the time and watched what they've gone through. Just in the past 7 years, the amount of time and effort they put in to just get a basic need. You know, this is one of Maslow's basic needs. We're not talking about self-actualization here. We're not talking about anything that's going to be higher up. That for years, for hundreds of years, I mean, for 30 years, over 30 years, they've been battling this one thing. And I don't know if you've seen the story that came out from Mrs. Walkup and from the Kincaids, and they put that all together. And it'll tear your heartstrings if you watch that. And I just don't know if everybody understands what has gone into just getting water for these families. And as they, and I know there's a lot of red tape, but this is an opportunity. It's just one of those situations where I can't believe we're in the 21st century and we have people who don't have water.
It's impossible to believe unless you're living it, which, you know, most of our residents have. There's a continued fight and it's something that we take very seriously, but you've heard some of the numbers here. That's what we're up against. Mr. Haynes was just for these smaller projects, multi-million, even if we put the entirety of what we had left toward that, it wouldn't fund but a part of it.
But we're chunking it, and if we chunk away over the time, that money's gonna come down, like you said, there's some appropriations, but I've heard that over and over and over again. That there's possible things down the line, they're coming through the chain and it just never comes to fruition. To see something, actual cash get applied, that's gonna give some hope to some people. I mean, the folks that started this no longer are with us anymore. They never saw it in the time of their life. They never saw it running water. And to me, that's a shame. And I understand this is something maybe we get federal funding, but just for everybody to know that we're talking about a basic need, it's a pretty big deal.
39% of the citizens of the county do not have running water. 46% of the county does not have an active sewer system.
And so, and think of, okay, so over now, that's a big deal because those folks have been using pickup trucks and trailers and hauling water nonstop. But as these populations get older, they don't have that ability. It's gonna become crazy and our elderly are gonna have big problems if we don't get it taken care of soon.
Yeah.
So,
No, we agree with you 110%.
And that's in addition to the water quality issues that we run up against.
Oh, I
Those who
understand.
actually have water, that's another challenge that we've had. And
Well, and that's a challenge up there off of Gwynn Road and all those that did ground tests have shown that water's just, it's just not good. You know, you can run pumps, everybody says, hey, let's drain the well, although the well water's just not good.
Then there are people whose wells have run dry. I mean, there's that on top of, you know, can you imagine having water and then your well is run dry? We even have that issue. It's just outrageous.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Do you have anybody else who has anything to add? If you guys, you know, if you think of anything else, preferably the smaller dollar, items here that you want to supplement with, go ahead and do that if you will, by the end of June. So we can make
And
those decisions, but I mean, I appreciate having something to work with. I think
Yeah.
we all do.
and if you have any correspondence, please send them to Ruth and Ruth will get them to us.
Mhm. We'll put them on the agenda.
That's it. Motion to adjourn?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
No, wait. On adjourning, this is not PSD related, but we have to squeeze.
oh,
these
yeah,
in.
Okay.
yeah.
So we had some late submissions of support letters from the town of Anstead and from the city of Montgomery. And our advice from council is that we go ahead and don't vote on it today, but that we go ahead and approve them and then vote on it retroactively
No.
on Wednesday. They're not requiring any financial output. It's just supporting these projects on behalf of these municipalities before the deadline for Senator Manchin's office on that date. So one is for park equipment at the town of Anstead, and can't remember what Montgomery's were off the top of my head. You know, John?
It was deal with park equipment for the
Okay.
children.
So anyway, we're just mentioning it now, but we're gonna push it through and get it on next week's agenda. You guys have that noted. Okay. So let's move to adjourn again. Motion to adjourn.
All right, second.